A late night checkup on the tropics and what we currently have going on. Two different storms, now named storms. Now we have Tropical Storm Laura and also the brand new one at this 10 p.m. advisory, Tropical Storm Marco. So a lot going on. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. Again, welcome. It's 10:40 p.m. at night, Friday night. Let's go ahead and check in on the latest developments with the tropics. So right now, keeping an eye on these systems approaching closer towards the Gulf of Mexico, both at the same time, expected to get there by Monday. Again, this is something to be keeping an eye on because we haven't really seen this before. This is a big deal because we're watching the potential for these storms to interact with one another, and that's a very important thing to keep an eye on. And I'll look at the different scenarios of what we could potentially see coming up. But again, this latest advisory dropping at 10 p.m. Laura, still tropical storm strength. It did have a Hurricane Hunter go into the center of it. Found that it was a little bit disorganized, so it hasn't been bumped up further. And also it affected its track just slightly because right now it's heading towards the southern Leeward Islands and also heading towards Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic. Dominican Republic is also the most mountainous region in the Caribbean. It has the highest mountains in that region, and that track is expected to go over it, but also it is moving west-northwest at 18 miles per hour. Here's that latest track with it. So heading further towards the Caribbean, again going over to Puerto Rico, the Dominican, Cuba. This is that latest change to it. It's not going in between Cuba and Florida, not staying over the water. Instead, it's heading over inland. This is inhibiting that further development and also that storm strength that we could see. Except it does head into the Gulf and is still expected to get up to that Category 1 strength when it does. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit on that track where you can see that it does pick up that Cat 1 strength. It's entering into the Gulf. This is going to be those warm Gulf waters, low shear environment, so great atmospheric conditions for Tropical Storm Laura to become Hurricane Laura by next week. Keeping a close eye on the system, the latest track also leaning towards the westerly side of it. So it has that Cat 1 strength hitting right on Louisiana. I want to go ahead and specify nothing is definitive at this point. That's by Wednesday. We're only on Friday, so we still have quite a few days. The 5-day track, 400 miles across, and it's still including Mobile and Pensacola in it. So nothing is certain at this point. Models and a lot of disagreement about what is happening with this. But we'll be keeping an eye on it as it gets closer because we will be seeing those impacts in terms of rainfall and also those winds and those rain bands. If this does verify with this track that it has, that's going to have us on that front right quadrant of Cat 1 hurricane. So it's only a Category 1, but still that front right quadrant going to be the most intense portion of that storm. So we still need to be high alert by the time we get into next week. But again, still far out. Anything can change. And with that, let's go ahead and check in on what is now Tropical Storm Marco. So just came out from the National Hurricane Center at 10 p.m. that this is now a tropical storm. Tropical Storm Marco, sustained winds 40 miles per hour, moving north-northwest at 13 miles per hour. So both these storms moving at a decent rate and having the sustained winds pretty close to each other. This one looking a little bit more organized now, just near Cozumel, about to go over the Yucatan Peninsula. And once it does, it will keep that tropical storm strength. Again, this latest development not picking up that Cat 1 strength. I was live on air as soon as this dropped. And so what we've been seeing with it is that it was supposed to be a Category 1. Now it's not. It was entering into a high shear environment ahead of it. We're seeing the area of shear just ahead of it in Texas and Louisiana. It looks like it's impeding that development, but also as we watch these two systems go closer together, it seems like Laura is going to be taking a lot of that energy necessary from it. And that's one thing that's been interesting about watching these two systems get close together is the different scenarios with them. Let's go ahead and zoom in closer because this is expected to keep tropical storm strength by the time it gets to that landfall and within that 400-mile radius, including all of the Texas coast, along with a little sliver of Louisiana with it. Let's go ahead and check out those tracks together. Now, both these tracks expected to get into the Gulf by Monday, so expecting Marco to go first, Laura leaving behind it. And with Marco not being as strong as they were expecting it, it's not going to affect it as much. What we were expecting was Marco to get up to that Cat 1 strength, churning up the Gulf, bringing up a lot of that cold moisture, that cold water within it, and that right there would inhibit the further development of Tropical Storm Laura. Well, now it's only expected to get that tropical storm strength, so not going to be affecting it just as much, and so that's what leads Laura to continue to keep that Cat 1 strength, and also overlapping just slightly. That's a really interesting thing to see with these storms, both making landfall Tuesday into Wednesday, so a little bit iffy on the timing for those, but very close to one another, and also side by side, so the entire Gulf Coast region on high alert for these storms. Well, let's go ahead and go over the facts. There has never been 2 hurricanes in the Gulf of Mexico at the same time. Now we're still not expecting these to be hurricane strength. We've seen tropical storms. It's been a long time. It was 1933 and 1959, but it's not unheard of, but mainly in the satellite image era, we haven't seen that happen. So regardless in itself, welcome to 2020. This is what we're seeing, just records broken all over the place. And this is one of them. But if they do get up to that hurricane strength, both Marco and both Laura, that in itself would be yet another record. Let's go ahead and take a look at the models, though, because modeling has also been interesting with these systems. They don't know what to do with each other. They're not used to having 2 systems in the Gulf near each other, so they're a little bit all over the place. They're in agreement that it's heading on that track, but once it gets to the Gulf, they kind of spread out just a little bit. We normally have a little bit more guidance by this point, but you can see a lot of them still in agreement by that westerly trend on that track. So heading just a little bit west for Laura. Let's go ahead and check out those models for Marco. These ones still mostly all over the place. This is the one that has been really scratching heads onto the track that it will take. Again, most of them leaning just towards that Texas-Louisiana track, but then a lot of them do have that different navigation within them. So we'll still be keeping a close eye on Marco. Again, that track from the National Hurricane Center has it heading closer towards the Houston area. We're not in that cone, still 400 miles across, but anything can change. It's not till next Tuesday and Wednesday, so many days away. We'll keep an eye on it. But here's a go ahead and look at both models together. You can see that crisscrossing pattern within them. And also another thing that we need to be keeping an eye on, because we're expecting both these to strengthen. So we've been seeing that so far for today. Tropical Storm Marco could still potentially get up to that Cat 1 strength. Regardless, we're going to see those winds increase up to at least 50 miles per hour. Lots of long-range uncertainty. We, again, haven't seen this before. That's why these models are in such disagreement, because they don't know how to interact with both systems together. But locally, we could see impacts Tuesday and Wednesday. So regardless, go ahead and have a plan ready and just be prepared. Let's go ahead and answer some tropical questions. I did these a little bit earlier. I've done these on the newscast tonight, but in case you're just now joining us, well, let's go ahead and ask these, because I've seen these all over social media. I'm going to go ahead and cut it back to the camera just to kind of answer some of these, because they're important things to question and also important things to answer, because there's going to be a lot of things out there on social media. People trying to hype this up. Well, let's go ahead and just get the facts. Well, can these combine? The first one, well, it's not impossible. It's called the Fujiwara effect. This was coined in 1921 by a Japanese scientist or meteorologist, both. And what it was 2 tropical cyclones that combined together. And again, that was almost 100 years ago that this was discovered. So a long time ago, but we don't have very many instances of it happening, let alone 2 tropical systems in the Gulf at the same time. That's where things come even more into the air. I want to level with people and let them know what we know and what we don't know. And that's one of them that comes to question, is what can happen? Well, we have some different scenarios that could, but will it happen? That's another big question in itself. Most likely not, but it's not impossible for it to. Both of these storms are strong from what we've been seeing, but with that latest advisory, Tropical Storm Marco not getting up to that Category 1 strength, something to keep an eye on with that. Negative impacts are the most likely effect coming from those, though, because what we're continuing to see with this, well, let's go ahead and go through those scenarios. Went ahead and put them on a graphic because I'm a very visual person. So, scenario number 1, they throw each other off course. This will be the highest scenario that we could see from this happening, is that They interact with one another. They don't like that. They try and go eye to eye just a little bit of a joke there, but they ended up not liking each other. So they just go opposite ways. But also they would negatively affect each other by introducing further wind shear and inhibit their development. Let's go ahead and go to scenario 2 though. Well, scenario 2, just a little bit different. They orbit each other. And for that to happen, they only need to come within 900 miles of each other. Really, for the Fujiwara effect to come into play, it needs to be within 870 miles of each other. So I'm throwing a lot of numbers out there. That's why I wanted to go ahead and write it down for that scenario number 2. Orbiting each other. That means that they would be rotating around one another. A very interesting thing to see. Again, nothing is out of the picture at this point. I'm not saying anything's definitive. I'm not saying anything's happening. I'm just trying to explain what could potentially happen with these Fujiwara effects. I'm just trying to get all the facts out there, get all the scenarios out there, and also try and keep information clear and concise so that there's no hyping up or also false information out there. Let's go ahead and talk about scenario number 3, because this is what seems to be the biggest hype of them all, and that's going to be the merging or combining. So 2 of those systems combining into one, the least likely of all of these scenarios, because for that to happen, they have to be within 190 miles of each other. Now, this latest cones that they did have them going closer together. It was only within about 600 miles. So something to keep in mind. Again, scenario 3, the least likely one to happen and will not happen. But I always like to say the jokes. It's always something that I like to keep in mind. It's 2020. Anything can happen, and we will be keeping an eye on it. Who knows? It could happen again so far for this year as we head further towards the peak of hurricane season. I'm going to go ahead and read some questions too. So in case you guys have any questions, please feel free to run them by me, run them my way. I'll be more than happy to answer them, but wanted to go ahead and get all those scenarios out there just to kind of lay them out and see what could happen, but will most likely not happen. I just wanted to break that down just a little bit for everyone out there. Let's go ahead and talk about conditions locally, just in case you are hearing any rumbles of thunder out there, Monroeville, Thomasville. I'm talking to you, because Mobile and Baldwin County are looking to be quiet so far for this evening. Just continuing to see some of those showers and thunderstorms further off towards our north. Zooming in further, Monroeville, you had some severe thunderstorm warnings earlier on today. Not looking that way now. And also checking out Futurecast, actually just 1 minute. Let's see, there's that camera. Okay, just 1 minute. I did have something else that I wanted to show. So this is the National Hurricane Center. Before I lose people on this next thing, the National Hurricane Center comes out with things called discussions. I'm going to go ahead, change this picture. Go ahead and put the track behind me. The National Hurricane Center comes out with discussions. Now, these are things that you can find right there on their website, where they just talk about the dynamics and also atmospheric conditions and probabilities of what they're thinking in detailed text. Something really important that we did see from this coming out from the National Hurricane Center, I'm going to go ahead and put it up. It was a tweet that I saw, and I really wanted to show this just to show how different this is. And that detail is right there. Larger than normal changes could be required to future advisories. For the National Hurricane Center to come out and say this is an important thing to make note of. Larger than normal, things are up in the air. Nothing is definitive at this point. That's what I'm trying to say all night long. I'm bringing these facts. As meteorologists, our job is to break down data and bring it to the public. That's what we do here at Fox News. That's what all on-air meteorologists are here for. We break down data and we relay it to the public in a clear and concise way, with also keeping that science in there as well. So larger than normal changes could be required to future advisories. I want everyone to take this to heart, and also whenever you see things online, know that. Keep that in the back of your mind, that even though we see that cone, even though we're in it, even though we're on the east side of it, anything could change. It's Friday. We're expecting that by Tuesday or Wednesday. I just want everyone to keep that in the back of their mind. And with that, let's go ahead and get back to our local forecast. I'll go ahead and go back to the Futurecast and what you can expect for your Saturday. If it will load behind me, there we go. Okay, by Friday at 10 p.m., we do have the potential for some of those isolated showers heading further on into this evening. So by 3 p.m., still seeing some of those rumbles of thunder, most likely near Destin. Isolated showers still possible overnight. By the time we get into tomorrow morning, looking clear and quiet so far to start off your day. Some coastal showers can't be ruled out of the picture. By the time we head later on into the afternoon, it's still summertime here on the Gulf Coast. And also for Saturday, this is going to be the lowest rain chances that we do have for the day. This model was being a little bit bullish for the rain chances earlier on this afternoon. I do think it's looking a lot more accurate. Only 30% for tomorrow. Again, mostly sunny skies for Saturday. Most places going to be staying dry for the remainder and the entirety of the day. And by Saturday night, we do have those isolated shower chances coming back into the picture. Before Sunday, we start to introduce increased rain chances by Sunday morning, and a wet Sunday ahead of us too. So for your day planner tomorrow, daytime highs upper 80s, lower 90s, mostly sunny skies, watching the potential for those scattered showers in the evening. Again, low chances, most areas going to be staying dry, and it's going to be the driest day of the week. So in case you do have anything that you want to be doing outdoors, heading to the beach, tomorrow's going to be your day to do it. Sunday, we get back to 80% rain chances, so not going to be the best day to spend it outdoors. Saturday, going to be the day that you want to go back, and also tropical impacts possible by the time we get to next week. So keep an eye on the Gulf, keep an eye on Fox 10, follow all of your local meteorologists. We have everything on social media. We have Facebook, I have Twitter, I have Instagram, and also I am willing to keep you updated on all of that. Hello, Mother. She just texted me. Shout out to Mom. Okay, but anyways, follow us. Download the Fox 10 News app. We're on Roku. We're on Apple TV. You can get us anywhere. We'll have a continuous loop of everything, too. That's going to be on our app and also on all of those TV apps as well, where you can watch that loop, get the latest advisories as they come out. We're here to keep you updated. We're here to give you that accurate information, and that is what I strive to do as a meteorologist. I try not to do the hype. Sometimes it's kind of easy to do with some of these interesting things that are happening, but again, I don't want to overhype anything or keep anything too out of the blue. But let me go ahead. I see Donovan also said hi, Mom, so I appreciate that one. So I'm reading all of the comments. Ricky said, well, the two storms being so close together caused tornado chances. Regardless, we will be having tornado potential out of these storms, regardless of where, not here, but wherever they head to. So if they do make that landfall closer to here, that tornado potential still in the picture. So as we get closer, keep that in mind in case these do get closer towards that landfall for us. Yeah, John, now I'm trying not to laugh about the comments. What are the chances that they both hit Mobile? Very, very minimal, especially with Marco. Laura right now heading that westerly track. Marco looking very unlikely. Also, Jake said hello to Mother too. So I hope that everyone has a fantastic Friday evening. Again, that latest advisory coming out, just showing a little bit of a different track. It doesn't have Tropical Storm Marco getting up to that Category 1 hurricane strength. And also it does have Tropical Storm Laura heading into the Gulf as well, but heading into coast or land areas first. I'm going to go ahead and show those tracks just one more time just to get a better idea of them, break them down just a little bit. You can see both those tropical storms heading further towards the Gulf, and also as they approach closer by Monday at the same time, those cones overlapping. So something that we really do need to be keeping a close eye on by the time we get to Tuesday and to Wednesday. I want to also stress anything can change. We'll keep you updated here on Fox 10 News throughout the evening. I wish everyone a fantastic Friday night, a good weekend, and just make sure that you stay dry out there, and also make sure that you stay updated. Bye, y'all.